about 2 weeks riding this bike, put well over 15 hours on it, and it's time to give you my first initial thoughts and what I think of this machine. I absolutely love this thing. For the type of riding that I like to do, the slow technical stuff, the log crossings, the hill climbs, going through creeks and all of the low speed stuff, this is the machine for the job. I was a little bit on the fence of going with the 250. I really wanted to find a 300, but I got the chance to ride a few 300s and I prefer this bike. I've noticed, and some other people have told me as well, that these things just feel lighter. I think there's only a 9 or 10 pound difference between this and the 300, but it just feels lighter. The way the engine is, the way it moves, the way the power is delivered. It's not a huge difference, but what I'm trying to say is I do not regret going with the 250 at all, and I absolutely love the power that this bike has. Now on to the next topic, what made me want to switch back to a 2-stroke from the 4-stroke. I've been riding 4-strokes for a while. I always had this perception that 4-strokes just lugged better and they had better lower end. And that was true for the most part back in the day. A lot of the race bikes, the 250s, the 125s, you had to be on the pipe. You had to get up in the higher RPMs in order to get the power out of them. But these modern day 2-strokes are a completely different animal. Now KTM's been doing it for a while, and even Kawasaki had the KDX 200. They're very similar to what this is today, but these are just super refined. I mean, from the ground up, the suspension is amazing. The PDS setup in the rear is super nice. I'm not experienced enough to notice a difference like coming from a linkage, but it's just nice having that peace of mind that you don't have anything down there to worry about, and the suspension feels dialed on this bike. I love it. This 2018 is counterbalanced, and I didn't think it made that big of a difference at first. Alexa's brother DJ, he just got a Beta 300, and we swapped bikes when he got it just for a little bit, and I didn't notice a huge difference, but if you're going out riding all day, you will notice a difference, absolutely. I got the chance to ride multiple 2-strokes back to back. Shout out to Slow, he has a Sherco 300, DJ with the Beta 300, then hopping back onto this 250. I did not want to get off of the 250 anymore. This thing is nice, it's smooth. The counterbalancer does make a huge difference with the vibrations. The electric start, man, this thing has been awesome to have. Like I said earlier, the redesigned starting system sits up underneath, so it's not just strapped onto the side like an afterthought, and it's a lot more reliable this way and you don't have to worry about it. But the lugging power of these bikes is what sold me, and I will never go back as far as a trail bike. First and second gear, especially on the XCW, are super low, and you have to try to stall this bike. Like, you can creep, you can crawl, and not even have to worry about the clutch. And I found that the sweet spot is second and third gear, second for the hill climbs. You put this thing in second and you can lug this thing up just about anything. It's an absolute cheater bike. That's what I call it, man. This thing is a cheater bike. I've done things on this bike that I couldn't have imagined doing on the 450L or 250L. Another point is the weight. These things are super lightweight in comparison to most 4-strokes and what I've come from. In combination with the lugging power, the hydraulic clutch is a game changer. This thing is buttery smooth, and it just makes you want to practice clutch work and be on the clutch all day long, and it's not gonna fatigue you. So everything that I've said so far has been positive. Do I have any negative feedback on this bike? Maybe, just little nitpick things. The headlight is absolute garbage, but you don't really buy these things for the headlight. I'm gonna do an LED upgrade at some point. The kickstand sits super tall, which can be good and bad. And cross my fingers, I haven't had any issues with it or any other bolts coming loose, because I know a few people had issues with that. I love the airbox design. It's got the quick release side panel here, so you don't need any tools to get into the airbox. You just rip that off and service your filter here. Already got some nice grass in there. But that's a feature that I didn't think I would really need, but now that I have it, I wouldn't want it any other way. Maybe another little nitpick would be these side panels here. They get filthy. Honestly, no real complaints. This thing is awesome. I think about it at night. Like, this is one bike that keeps me up. I'm like, man, I cannot wait to hop back on this thing, ride it, increase my skills. And that's the biggest thing for me, and the biggest excitement that I have right now is finally being on a bike that's more capable than me, and I can push myself, grow as a rider. So this is the 2018, and it is the last year for the carbureted models. All of the new ones are TPI, fuel injected. So why didn't I get a TPI? Honestly, the deal was just right on this bike. I wouldn't have been opposed to getting a TPI. I have heard of a few select people having oil pump failures with the TPI bikes, but it didn't really scare me away. You just have to replace the oil pump. I think it's every 100 hours with those bikes to maintain a peace of mind, and just make sure you're running clean fuel through it. And there are benefits to having the carburetors. I mean, tunability, I can tune this thing however I want to, and I know how to do it. Carburetors are very simple, and thankfully this bike was jetted properly. It has a JD jet kit installed because the factory jets weren't cutting it. This guy that had it before me struggled to get it jetted right, but this thing is dialed, so no complaints. I was worried about that. Maintenance-wise, the key to keeping these two-strokes healthy is just to have clean air filters, change the transmission fluid every once in a while. I'm not gonna go super overkill with that, but the air filter is the biggest thing. Running a good quality premix. I'm running the AMSOIL Dominator in this bike at 50-1. No complaints so far. It's a great oil, and I've heard great things from other people that have ridden with it for a while. The recommended interval for a top end rebuild on one of these things is around 100 hours, but that's for like higher RPM use, and for the most part, I'm just lugging this thing on the trail. So I think I might try to stretch it to around 130, maybe even 150 hours, I'm not sure. And I was thinking about doing the 300 kit someday, just when it came time to rebuild, just swap the 300 kit on there. That just consists of a cylinder, ECU, piston obviously. But the way this 250 has been performing so far and the nature of this bike, I love it. I think I'm gonna stick with the 250. The way that I've been riding, we will probably reach rebuild time by the end of this season. I was hoping to make it till next season, but no worries, top end isn't that big a deal. And honestly, it's better to be safe than sorry and just go ahead and rebuild it. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think I should try to stretch it out to around 150 hours or just go ahead and bite the bullet and do it at 100 hours? I think a lot of people are overkill with their top ends, but you know what? That's just peace of mind. But that's gonna wrap up my first initial thoughts on the KTM 250XCW. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Are you excited to see this bike? What do you think are some things that I should do to it? I wanna get radiator guards and potentially a fan kit. I came close to overheating it on this technical section where I got stuck on a hill, so we might need to do the fan kit. If you're excited as I am, make sure you hit that like button. Plenty of content dropping on this bike very soon. This is my first modern two-stroke, so I'll let you know my experiences along the way. So make sure you have those notifications on, subscribe if you're new, and until tomorrow's video, we got about a month left of these daily uploads. I'll see you then.